I'm trying out these AirPods with the computer, so please let me know if you can hear me.
I can hear you. Hey there.
Great. Good afternoon. Good evening. Do we know a Jay Zian?
Um, no, I don't know who that is, but
Let me message them.
mhm. And I was just listening into Madeline's call now, who's on now. It seems pretty interesting listening to some perspectives of people that are in East Palestine and what they endured on the legal side.
I think she said that she posted that Scott Smith,
Yeah.
Scout Smith is a guy from like Newton County or something that I've known for years, and every time I hear Scott, I always think it's Scout.
Oh, yeah, yeah. He as a matter of fact, he just started speaking, so I figured I would listen to the recording. Right.
Hmm.
Seems like some pretty interesting information. I think would be helpful, for maybe other families that are trying to make a decision and kind of have some point of reference.
Okay,
Hi,
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm
hi,
gonna take a
Zori.
chance on Jay Z and see who we got here because they're waiting around, so they
Sure, sure.
see who we got. Y'all hear my partner Mariah is teaching our son how to do puzzles right now, which he enjoys the kinetic part of it, but the patience is not always there. All right, I'm gonna drop a link to the agenda. Let me make it so that anyone can edit it too. Just think about Google Docs, it records who does the editing. So even if someone were to try and mess with it, we'd see who it was. Oh, that's not the thing I wanted. There we go. There's a link to agenda in there. And just because I want to be, I do a lot of these Zooms, and so I try and be cognizant of time, respect everybody's time. So there's two things. One of them, I'm going to introduce a concept. If you haven't heard of it before, it's something in movement spaces they call security culture. But basically, it's the idea that you can do the rest of the meeting however you want to, but we do ask everyone to very briefly hop on camera when they introduce themselves, just so we know it's a real person, and then hop off. You can literally just flash it and then like on off so people can know it's a person. Sometimes when we don't all know each other yet, then that can help put people at comfort. Do we know a bezalel Jupiter?
No, I don't know who that is.
Okay. Check the registration, see if somebody came in late.
And thank you so much for steering this component.
Oh, I see all here. Okay. And Brian, Jay. Oh, Jay. Okay. You got a Proton Mail account. I'm assuming that you are with it. Oh, Basil, not Bezalel. Hey, Basil. I appreciate you. Okay. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and let's get us. There's Free Asia. Go ahead and get started here with some introductions. Um, just as we get these, eventually I think when we're in person or as we go, we'll all know each other. But as we keep going, just want to make sure everybody gets a chance to say hey. Once again, I will model it at first, but just asking everybody when you introduce yourself, if you flash your camera on for a minute so we all know you're a real person, and keep going. That is in this case so that we know that you're not a BioLab person. And everyone can put a face to it. Um, I know we do know who you are, so I'm assuming we'll be able to tell your voice. It's not going to help us necessarily if BioLab has a gun to your head, but I think otherwise we should probably feel fine with that.
Hey
Uh,
guys,
hey,
good
hey,
afternoon, everybody.
all right. So intros, basically asking for your name, your county. If you have other pronouns that aren't obvious by looking at you, which no judgment, just please let us know how you would prefer to be referred to. If you have an organization you're with, please say that. And if not, just who's your community. If you're a teacher, if you're a small business owner, like if Larry Cox were on, I'm sure that Larry would say that he speaks for small business owners, or as one like can relate to that. If you had a church, whatever it is, and then just why you want to shut down BioLab so we can all be grounded in why we're here. Um, and I will start by saying my name is Paul Glaze. I'll make sure I see them. I am in DeKalb County. You can call me whatever you want. I will probably answer, which is good and bad. Um, I'm with Georgia Conservation Voters Education Fund. We do environmental stuff, environmental justice stuff. Don't care what side of the aisle you're on, as long as you care about people and uh, our natural resources because they belong to us as people and to everybody as the planet. And I want to shut down BioLab because I think that this region has an opportunity to set an example of there's a red line, you cross that red line, you get held accountable, right? It's we have a very clear, practiced bad actor here. It's not like it's just a one-time thing, and I really think that there's an opportunity to do some good here, and other people will take note. And I will ask for volunteers on who wants to jump in next.
Hey, I'll go next. I'm driving, but this is Zuri Williams. I'm a resident of Rockdale, small business owner. I'm also president of NAACP, but I'm here more on behalf as a citizen, wanting to shut down Rockdale, shut down BioLab. Just fourth time is an insult at this point, and I want to make sure anybody who's been affected as a business owner or as a resident, health-wise, gets restitution in all forms of fashion, and I want to see them gone.
Thank you, Zuri. This is EFAT Walker with Community Action Now, resident of Rockdale County. Our agency actually provides support to families in Rockdale, Newton, Walton, Gwinnett, and parts of DeKalb County. I am on this call and a part of this coalition with a demand to shut down BioLab because it impacts us all. Our agency believes that anything that harms families has to go. Anything that will assist families in becoming self-sufficient, whether it's through environmental justice, or any other type of thing that can strengthen our community, that's what we support. If it's harming our community in any way, especially our most disadvantaged populations, then we stand firmly against it. That's why I'm on the call.
Hello, everybody. My name's Basilio Jupiter. I'm with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. Go by anything said respectfully. Yeah, want to shut down because time and time again, I have family in Louisiana and Jackson, Mississippi. And in both cases, we've seen how the government has completely abandoned people when disaster hits our communities, especially here in the South, especially in rural Black communities. So, I'm tired of seeing that. I want to stop and, that's why I want to shut down BioLab.
I'm Faye Cofield. Excuse me, I've got bad lighting. I'm upstairs in my office. I'm Faye Cofield. I'm the executive director of the Evelyn Stokes Foundation. Our only mandate is empowering marginalized communities. And I believe that a BioLab should be shut down because it has failed to be a good neighbor and it is a danger to those within the community. In fact, it's pretty much a waiting time bomb. And also, I want us to take a look at I was sent a picture today of the firefighters that were fighting the fire, and we need to find out why they did not have hazmat suits on to fight that, and what damage was done to Rockdale and possibly the cab fire trucks and firefighters.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Teresa Hardy. I am in DeKalb County. I'm the former NAACP president, as well as the former NCNW president. Just to let you know that I do come from a fighting organization, but I'm here as a citizen, a neighboring citizen to Rockdale. Even though this happened in Rockdale, it impacts DeKalb and other surrounding communities, and I too want it shut down because it has impacted our people. And I think we said it on Saturday, 3 strikes, you're out. And also this has reminded me of a few things that has happened since I've been here in DeKalb County, 24 years. It was the landfills that was in the in our neighborhoods. It's the actual rivers. I can name several different environmental type issues that keep plaguing our communities, and this just added to that list, right? We've had Metro Green, we've had Chase. There's a lot of different things that's happened in Lithonia and DeKalb or South DeKalb that warrants opportunity for us to actually shut down BioLab, because it did do the same thing that I've seen happen in DeKalb County. Thank you guys for allowing me to be a part of the coalition.
Hello, everyone. This is Ina, and I have a farm in Newton County, but I also have a training center in Conyers. And one of the things that I am really concerned about is what the impact is going to be for farmers across the state of Georgia for the spring as well as now. Are our farmers actually putting that food on the market, or are they discarding it? So I want to be a part of this with shutting down BioLab, simply because they are not good neighbors and they are not paying attention to the negative impact to the entire environment. And by being a food producer, I am really concerned about that. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Friasia Young. I'm an environmental justice advocate and activist throughout the Metro Atlanta area. And I am in South DeKalb, 9.8 miles away from BioLab. And I am here to in agreement with shutting down BioLab because it's a detriment to community health. And I guess in this space, just for us to start thinking about the next steps after we get BioLab shut down. Are we then advocating for rezoning to make sure that someone else doesn't come and just move into BioLab space and still continue to pollute? Are we, what are we doing in terms of community monitoring of permits, and just looking at other facilities in the area as well?
Hello, everyone. Go ahead and reach out and say a resident of Conyers, about 4 miles away from where the fire took place, named Alex. Biggest reason why I'm behind shutting down BioLab is the fact that a couple hours after the fire started, both me and my pregnant asthmatic wife got severe headaches and had to leave our home. And under the recommendations of her doctors, as well as other people we've talked to, we have not yet gone back home. She has not been able to go home and potentially won't be able to go home until we have some type of confirmation from her doctors and everyone else that it's going to be safe to do so. So I'm absolutely in this fight and willing to do whatever it takes to shut them down. I'm a Second Amendment right and civil rights activist as well. I've done a lot in that world, and I've done a lot to fight for the civil rights of a whole wide range of people, as well as professionally, I'm a pilot and have done a lot to advocate for the rights of pilots. Thank you.
And that just leaves Mr. Jenkins. Mr. Jenkins, you want to introduce yourself? Not that I think most of us need it, but still. There we go. Brian, can you hear us now? Okay, well, if we get, oh, wait, I think the camera's coming on. Someone who knows how to make an entrance. Okay, well, if we figure that out, then we will pause and we will make sure we come back there. Appreciate everybody for being on this call, and for doing the quick camera on thing. I'll be honest, I haven't used it in the corporate context yet. It's mostly a thing that makes people feel better when you're organizing and you're worried about police, but it applies here as well. And heard Free Asia. So next thing we're going to do real fast is we're going to review the actions since we last met. It's been a week and a half, 2 weeks. And so there's kind of, I think, two big things. We'll come back to the third one later. The first is the Warnock meeting. Pretty much everyone that spoke at the rally was invited to the Warnock meeting. And there is a readout. There are notes that I can provide. But for the most part, it was just people sharing their direct impacts, sharing their testimony, and everyone focused on calling for a state of emergency. And if not a state of emergency from the federal government, then public pressure on the governor to do one from the state level. Some kind of trial, action, hearing, tribunal, pick your word, to compel BioLab to participate and to share the data and the evidence that people need and deserve. And then finally, and you can see at the bottom, Gwen Smith from CHARS has identified a certain type of data that we need from the day before through now that the EPA removed from their reports. So those were the big asks. They did share some things with us, including that they had asked the U.S. Chemical Safety and Hazard Investigatory Board, which is known as the CSB, to conduct an investigation. I will drop the link to that announcement in the chat. They also told us that Warnock is going to meet with the CEO of KIK Consumer Products. We were not told a date on that yet. And then they did commit to another meeting probably in late November, early December, to then touch back in on the follow-ups and the points that people had asked for. So there's a record, or there is not supposed to be, but I have an audio recording of that, which I'm happy to share with you. And thanks to Gwen, we also have notes from that as well, like a readout of the actual call, and then I took notes. So happy to give that to anybody that wants it. The other thing is I wanted to take a moment here to give people an opportunity to debrief from the rally. What went well, what could have been better, how do we ensure that these stay focused on kicking out BioLab and moving this effort forward. So just want to pause here. If you attended the rally, what were your thoughts? How do you think it went? Good, bad, ugly, all the things.
AFAT here. I first want to just thank everyone that is on the call that attended and participated in the rally. You could have been anywhere else, but you chose to come out on a Saturday and give of your time, your effort, your voice, your legs, walking, putting up with, the elements, and standing united together as people that believe in one cause, and that was to shut down BioLab. I'm very proud of what took place on Saturday. I think in the future, areas of improvement are each collectively having more people out. If I would say anything else, is how do we engage, in particular, the Rockdale community to come out? We had a lot of people from other counties that came out, and I thought that was beautiful. But I think in many, I've been in Rockdale for many years, and one of the weaknesses that I've always seen, it didn't really matter what the cause has been, but low turnout. I don't think it was actually pretty good turnout for Conyers, to be honest with you. But I think we can do better because I think people believe in this cause and pushing it forward. Um, like what we're doing today, engaging, telling people that we're going to keep the fire burning and doing exactly what we're doing right now. And Faye, you had some great questions, and I think this is the beginning, right? We literally are still at the starting point. So to your questions about what's the next step, that's what we're here for. We're here to begin to outline additional steps. And again, what went well was we all showed up united. Where I think we can do better is in turnout and also in keeping I think for the most part, everyone's stuck to the call to shut down BioLab. So as far as I'm concerned, I think we did an amazing job collectively.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we had about 50, 60 people. Also, anecdotally, pretty much everybody that drove by, like in any group of cars that went by, there was a couple people like pumping their fists, honking their horns. A lot of people joining in on the chants as we marched through town. Um, Anyone else that was there that wants to speak to that? Teresa, Zuri, Basil.
Yeah, I think everything went well. One thing that it, okay, so I've been in a lot of protests, forever. But when we did the route, we have to make sure that people stay on the sidewalks. I think we were trying to just keep everybody safe, so that we didn't have the civil disobedience to go on. I think we might have started up. I don't know where all those sheriffs came from. I thought we only had two, and then all of a sudden it was a bunch of them. I don't know what happened as it relates to that, but I think the word got out. I think the message was clear. I believe that we've been on several media platforms, and that's usually a good thing after the fact. So it's like the awareness from the protest is causing the things that I'm hearing now. Like I think the commissioner did a lawsuit this morning or something like that. I haven't been able to catch up with everything that's going on, but it's starting to give that awareness. And just FYI, I had people from Alabama said, "Hey, I saw you on TV. What's going on?" So the news is actually spreading so that we can actually see that. So I think the overall protest and awareness, what we did was good and meaningful and impactful. And on the next steps, I think it's going to be the accountability piece, which I don't know which direction that we're going to go in. So that's something we can talk about. If the direction is going, continue to go after BioLab, do they make a move, or is it do we wait to see what BioLab going to do and go after our elected officials on what I don't know what's going on. So you guys got to help me a little bit on what is being seen on the Rockdale side. And then the thing that came out of the legislative side, I'm not sure if this is either, if the legislators are not saying state of emergency to the governor, I'm not sure what bill or law needs to be changed. I'm just kind of trying to figure out what angle we could actually go to next, right after this awareness. But thank you again for going forth, and everything was safe and everybody got home safe.
Totally. I think we have time for one more readout from that, and then we will jump to the next thing. And then I will just put out there because I know they have to go that Teresa Free Asia is an expert in where we can go legislatively. That is their bag. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, Free Asia, when I say that. So I think the opinion is going to be we keep moving regardless. Put the pressure. We just keep the pressure up somewhere, but in that direction, I'm personally going to defer to them. And then Faye, I want to get to you, but I know that I know you had to miss on Saturday. So Basil, if you want to jump in.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say real quick that I mean, it was I mean, for a first protest for like a struggle that really hasn't like popped off like this before. I think it's like a really good turnout. And all throughout every speech and all throughout like what everybody was saying, and just the energy of the protests in general, like the rally portion to the march, like people were had a strong unified message of we're going to shut down BioLab. We're not taking any unprincipled compromise on this, and we're all united in this message. We won't be divided. We let any petty stuff that the ruling class throws at us divide us. And yeah, I mean, as far as like like what can be improved, I mean, as far as like the turnout goes, I think, yeah, I mean, I believe there's a community meeting like planned for the 28th. I believe that's on the agenda. I think that would be a great next step, and just like bring people who may be shy about coming to a protest, bring them into a room, and also plan next steps of like how do we reach out to the community in Conyers. And yeah, I mean, lastly to say, I mean, echoing Teresa's point, I mean, this lawsuit filed by Rockdale County is showing that pressure like this works. And, like it's not going to come like, like from the goodness of their hearts, but from the pressure of the people.
Appreciate that. And just a note for everybody that Brian can hear everything, but he's can't connect his audio out into us right now. So I may pause you at some point in case he puts something in the chat. All right, Faye, if you want to go, and then we'll move into next steps and where we want to go from here.
Oh, the only thing I was going to say is that with regard to the Rockdale County lawsuit, I believe they're trying to get out there ahead, so they cannot be named as, well, they can always be named as a defendant with the personal lawsuits, and the class action. But I think they want the ability to have an alibi, and that is coming from so many people have said they were not notified, they didn't know what was going on, and that Rockdale failed to properly act with the fire. So I think we're just going to have to wait and see. But I'm glad that we're following through with what we agreed to do, and that we will not back down from this, because this is my final thing on this. We have to think about this as 9/11. Remember, there are people who are still being diagnosed with problems related to what happened at 9/11. And a lot of the citizens that walked through the cloud and were dusted and everything else, they're still, trying to get included in the action for 9/11. And that was almost that was 23 years ago. So we have to, make people aware. This is not just it'll be over next week, like you get your house repaired and that's it. This is a health matter that may spread as far as Henry County, because we know that when the cloud came, it didn't reach the Rockdale County line and say, hey, I'm at Rockdale, let me turn around and go back. So, let's be diligent and, all be ready to be dedicated to this for the long haul.
Totally. No, and I was telling Alex that for a very brief amount of time, I worked for a state senator in New York that helped get the healthcare coverage for the firefighters and police officers post 9/11, and got to meet some of them, and it's pretty. It was pretty tough. I got to meet some of them, and you're absolutely right. I was telling somebody after the rally that you can't. It's hard to get organized after the fact. So if we're lucky, we do all this work and it's for nothing. But if we're not lucky, we'll be glad that we did it. So moving into our next section here, this is where do we go from here? There have been kind of two things put forward. The first is Mr. Jenkins with Rockdale. I hope I'm got the name right. Rockdale Renaissance, I know is correct, but Rockdale Renaissance Project, it's Rockdale Renaissance, has called for a protest or rally at the governor's mansion. The other thing is, trying to have a community meeting where we can elect a small group of folks that can represent the area, that can say that, from then on, if we're trying to do something, if those 3 people or those 5 people, those 8 people, however many it is, vote on it and say, yeah, we're going ahead with that, then we go forward as if we have the community's backing, we're going. And that be the body that we start pushing everybody into, and start having these meetings, hopefully a hybrid in person and over we have like organizing calls here on Zoom, but we start having like a monthly in person as well, so that community members can really join in. Those are kind of two directions. The first thing I want to open up to, though, is talking about Brian's proposal, and it's kind of he has put in the chat, yeah, sadly can't connect to audio. Grateful for each of us to give our time for this serious health matter. Brian, if there's anything about that you wanted to kind of put in the chat, please do. I think the question for us here is, it's really a question of targets, right? To get to, I think, what also Teresa had brought up. What we know from Daniel Blackman is that technically it is the EPD that is like the agency who technically has the jurisdiction. But nobody wants to actually be the people left on the hook for this failure. So EPD is like, oh, well, we're using the EPA's testing, and EPA is like, well, it's really they're the ones in charge here, and it's that kind of situation. I am all for a protest at the governor's mansion and a rally if we think that's gonna like help bring some more people in. I think my real question is whether we think that next step should be, do we need to do another one of these in like a week from now, like another kind of small action or something to keep it out there and like keep it up in the media or whatever? Or do we think that it's now time that we should get people together in person, and try and build as many names as possible behind it? So with that, I'm gonna open it up just for conversation. And Alex, I see you have your hand raised.
Yeah, so there's a couple things. As far as stuff that we need to be doing sooner, we definitely need to be making sure that we're putting stuff out into the community about this a lot better. I know we have one social media account that I'm aware of on Instagram that posts periodically, but the presence needs to be more so in apps that the community is going to see. There's neighborhood, neighborly, a couple different of those format apps that we can be getting the word out into. And we also have to recognize that there's non-conventional media sources that we need to be getting the attention of as well. There is a group, Status Coup. He's a journalist that has done coverage of East Palestine as well as a bunch of other social protests. He's been trying to cover this and has been kind of trying to reach out and find different resources. He'd be a great guy to reach out to and be able to have a conversation with that can get us more national attention. He's also gone on the Breaking Points news broadcast, which is more of a newer news format and could get us more attention on some bigger non-conventional platforms. Not everyone that's my age or younger is tuning in to Fox 5 Atlanta or WS2 to actually see what's going on in the news. So we need to find other avenues to get people aware of that and getting people's attention. The other thing, as far as doing the rally at the governor's mansion, there's a whole logistical train that needs to happen there. If we wanted to do a rally, if you've ever been to the governor's mansion, you kind of know there's a thin sidewalk and the nearest parking's probably 15 miles away. To get people there is a huge undertaking. Secondly, to get all the permitting and all that's going to be a whole other issue, but getting logistically a community of people that live an hour away from the governor's mansion to actively go there and show up in any large level of turnout is going to be a monumental undertaking, and is going to, I mean, we could bus people and try to do that, but there's a whole host of logistical things that make that more challenging than I think we might be giving thought to. So that would be a huge undertaking, as well as another alternative is getting more attention to people in Rockdale. There's a whole lot of people going on the drive on their commute going on I-20. I know if you go through I-20, there's a certain connection at 138 and I-20. There's traffic backed up there for damn near days trying to get home at rush hour. If we can have people out there, if we could be making a presence on the sidewalks where we're legally able to do, holding up signs, getting attention, hey, check out this website, contact this group, get in with us. That can be an easy way to be getting more attention to the local community and getting the buy-in of Conyers and Rockdale as a whole. But those are just a couple thoughts that I have. Definitely stuff to consider.
Definitely appreciate that. I will say though, Brian, if we get to the point, if you just want to go get arrested, I'm with you. I will take that hit with you. Free Asia, and I'm adding these in the notes section underneath the agenda stuff. So please check me if I don't have something. Go ahead, Free Asia.
Yeah, I'm trying to give it to 7:05. People just start joining on maybe 5 minutes after, but just a bit of advice and kind of where we want to keep applying pressure, definitely at BioLab, but the EPD as well. And so if you've not had any dealings with the EPD, we need to keep pressure on the EPD. I'll just keep it there. I've seen that there's been several violations that's been turned over to the state, and I requested a GORA request from the EPD about those violations, and EPD got back to me and said that they didn't have any violations for BioLab, which I know is a damn lie. And so I definitely keep that pressure on the EPD, and then also city council, and even look as far as the development authority, because things happen in the background that if you're not paying attention, you won't catch it. But I do have to jump to this next meeting. Paul looped me in, and I'm more than happy to help monitor that.
Absolutely, and I have a First Amendment lawyer that likes to sue the government that around for open record stuff that I will see if that's something they can help with. Awesome. All right, I'm taking notes here, y'all. I will say I tend to agree with Alex that I think right now we should tend to focus in around Conyers Rockdale. I think an easy thing that gets attention that helps keep the word out there is a banner drop over I-20 over the bridge. That's something that I know that Basil and their comrades do pretty effectively, and they could set up an art day. We could do a quick build and all of that. Also, probably time if we decide that we do want to do an in-person meeting, then I think we should do a good community canvas as well. And I can commit to taking a day and trying to get some folks out and just knock doors and invite people to it. And I know that they can't be here right now, but Madeline has also said that they got some volunteers in that Facebook group that are willing to as well. I do think we will have to push it back now, probably post-election, because there won't enough time to get people to actually show up. Okay, go ahead, Teresa.
Yeah, hey Paul. Yeah, I like what Free Asia was saying about that EPD stuff. Is there a report out where they just said blatantly? I know I heard it in the news that they said that they didn't find anything. I kind of heard it as a rumor, but is there some kind of reporting that is out that we could actually review from them?
I'm not sure. We can follow up with Free Asia though.
Okay.
I haven't seen anything. My experience with government agencies is that they say they take a very selective. They're like, oh well, we didn't find any of this one thing, and then word it right, you know, like.
Right.
But I don't have the knowledge to know if that's the situation.
And that may be why we can't get the state of emergency too, right? Because
So yeah,
Governor
does it?
Kemp don't have anything going on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Basil.
Yeah, I mean, just on the point of like both the art build and also outreach, yeah, I could definitely go and see if we like who we have available for both. I mean, yeah, most likely we'd definitely be down if you just like give a day and time, definitely be down to like flyer at Walmart or something like that. Preparation for the meeting, even go door to door. As well as yeah, like helping out with art build for a banner, something like that.
That's awesome. Faye.
I think one place that we kind of miss a lot is the homeowners associations. We need to be reaching out to them because you can give them one leaflet and they can spread it among their people. I like the idea of the banner drop. I think we don't do enough guerrilla challenges to this. And I think also we should have maybe a YouTube page or whatever you say, or a Facebook page, so that people can come to it on a regular basis and find out what's going on and can tell us stuff. Because one thing I've been telling people is that since I've been attending these hearings and these meetings, I have been finding out things that I didn't know that were going on. Like I didn't realize there had been an explosion until I went to the meeting at, I thought there had been, but I didn't know for fact until I went to the meeting at the state capitol. And so, we need to keep people informed if it's just, putting out something every other day, but let them know what's going on.
All right. So a couple things. I will commit to building out a Facebook page. Twitter, Alex, I'd love to get with you on if it's neighborly or it's the other one everyone's on all the time, next door, whatever what it may be. Um, I think we do need a presence on those, and it'd be great if everyone here could be thinking about if you know someone that maybe can't go to the protest but would be happy to post up on next door and be tagging everybody. That would be awesome. Because there's just there's a lot going on. We all have day jobs too, so it's not, I can get the things made, but it's hard to post on everything all the time. And then Brian, I see it just said you just connected to your audio. So maybe you are able to come in and speak now. If not, I'm going to read this comment in the chat, which is Brian said, as I said, when the opportunity was provided to speak on Saturday, my organization is working on presenting this protest at the governor's mansion. Many people have contacted me with their interest in participating in this effort. Therefore, we are currently structuring the logistics for the protest. So that's awesome. I'm down. I'll come. If there's a day and time, I mean, preferably if there's a flyer, right? But if you want to help with that, then we got people that'll help. Alex has also said, let me know what you're thinking as far as logistics. We'll be glad to help. So, we're definitely down to back you on that. Their moderation team shot down Ring's neighbors. Dang. But Brian, we're down on that. We just need to know the time. And Ina, do you want to speak to that? Because that's a really impressive thing you just said in the chat. And I'd love it to come from your voice instead of the text.
Okay. Having a few technical issues, but hopefully I won't break up. but I've been talking to my farmer friends, not just here in Newton County, but Rockdale, DeKalb, and some other farmers, because we are really concerned what is going to happen for us in spring. So they want to be able to participate as well.
We love to hear it. We love to hear it. I'm gonna go. So let's go to Faye, and then when we're done with Faye, I'm gonna propose a couple next steps. And if we're good with those, then I'll put them in the notes, and we can follow up and keep moving.
Let me say this as a longtime protester. It doesn't matter what day you go to the governor's mansion, if you can put 20 people or 10 to 20 people in front of the governor's mansion, you're going to get some attention because it's going to shut down. It's going to cause some commotion because he is on a residential street and a very busy, heavily traveled residential street. And so, the people over there, they are going to be quite concerned. And they're not mean spirited people, but I'm saying they're going to be quite concerned about the protests in their neighborhood. So, I mean, that's what I've experienced from going over there on some death penalty issues and some other protests. So that's it, you know. But anytime you want to go, you will have an impact on him.
Okay, can you hear me now, guys?
Yes, we can. All right.
Oh, wow. This was an arduous task, believe me. I just, if I may, can I start from the beginning in terms of some of the questions that you put for the group, before the group, excuse me?
Yeah, you're good. We got 14 minutes, and we're almost at the end of the agenda, anyways.
All right, I'm not going to be long at all. Let me just say that I want to applaud each and every one of you for your participation in presenting a major concern before the public. There are people, as I stated on Saturday, that do not live in Rockdale, but yet have come out to Rockdale in support of us that do, to lend their support, some of which are that live on the peripheral of the county are affected as much as, if not even worse, than some of the people who do live in Rockdale. And so this is a collective problem. It isn't just a problem unique to Rockdale County. And so I wanted to just thank each and every one of you. I would also kind of circle back, if I may, on the statement that was made on Saturday in the very beginning. I believe it was from no, it was a text to me that this will not be a political, we're not to address political concerns in this protest. I found that to be somewhat unfathomable, simply because it's politicians have their hands all over this, and to not address that from a political standpoint, I think we're doing ourselves an injustice, and so the idea of bringing this protest to the governor's mansion, that's political. I'm not in no way trying to make the governor look bad. Of course, I really don't care, in the sense in which my health and the health of my neighbors in my community is more important to me than making the governor look bad. Believe me when I say that. I just think that in order to do that, we will be able to garner more attention nationally. And in fact, I know that for a fact because I received a call from a law group out of New York, not to come here to try and represent any victims, if you will. They have no interest in doing that. But this law group deals with the very thing that we're addressing, and that's the injustice that has occurred to us here in Rockdale County and the neighboring counties as well. And they would love very much to come and work with us because I shared with them that I was invited to participate with you guys, and the work that you guys are doing is just great. EFAT and you and the team that I've met, you guys are just doing tremendous work. And let me just back up and introduce myself and who I am. I've been living in Rockdale for 20 years. I'm the former president of the Rockdale County NAACP. I am a former elected official from the state of Connecticut, former chairman of the Black and Hispanic Caucus for the city of New Haven, Connecticut. I am currently the owner of a tremendous program that you'll hear more about in Rockdale County, the Rockdale Renaissance Project. And essentially what we do is it actually addresses a myriad of different issues in the county. Contracts if they're going to minorities, or what percentage of contracts are going to minorities. We're dealing with holding elected officials accountable. So it deals with a wide range of different areas. And so I thought that the need to create such a program would be extremely important in Rockdale, simply because this is more like a bed and breakfast county. You don't hear much activity happening in Rockdale, and a lot of people have the tendency to not step up. And so we need that, especially now, not only as it relates to BioLab, because there are other disasters that occur in the county that we need the same level of attention applied to. And so the support, and I take absolutely no credit because I'm not about credit. I love to give credit, but the support has been overwhelming for this initiative. And I give God all the glory. I take absolutely none. And so the idea to bring this to the mansion, to the governor's mansion. I think, guys, that when we do that, now I heard the comments earlier, how difficult it will be to do that. But you know what, even if we don't succeed in that quest and really doing it the way we did it Saturday, the idea of us coming down there and all the media know that we're coming down there, even if we don't succeed in doing the march the way in which we perhaps perceive we can do, I think that we've succeeded nevertheless. And so so that's really where this is. And your support, I heard some of the support in the background. Yes, it touches farmers. Absolutely, it does. And we're all a part of this. We're guys, listen, we're on a boat. Every last one of us are on a boat, and there's a hole in the boat. So the people who are at the front of the boat and the people who are in the back of the boat, those who are in the front may feel as though this doesn't apply to me. Okay, well, you let that water continue to seep into that boat, and so we'll all sink together. And so it applies to everyone, and that's my mindset. And so to that end, I just wanted to share that with you.
Awesome. Aoife, I know you had your hand up. I'd like to go there, and then I've got some action steps planned out, and we can all vote on those. And if we're good with those, I'll email them out.
So really quickly, Brian, and thank you so much for being on this call. I think that organization is absolutely necessary, needed. But I also believe firmly that as a part of our demands, one of our top demands is for the governor to call a state of emergency. And we have been speaking to everyone except for the governor. So I am 100% in support of us going to the governor's mansion, in support of Brian Jenkins' initiative, and speaking directly, whether that directly means we're outside or that directly means we've been invited inside. And if we have to stand on that thin sidewalk, then well, so be it. I think we should simply be there.
Yes, I agree.
I agree. Brian, I think we can leave whether the call is, state of emergency now, or whether the call is like, let us in, like meet with us. However you want to play that, I think we support you there. I think Teresa's got a question there. Are we going to the mansion or his office at the Capitol? Again, I think those are, you can decide those. But real fast, just I want to make sure that we respect everybody's time. I got a couple of proposals for next steps, and if we're good with those, we can come back and keep talking about it. Um, the first is, action item one. I think we should support Brian's protest. We can follow up with him for details as as those logistics get worked out. And I just said, let's set a goal of 20 people, right? If I believe Faye when they say 10 to 20 people can do it. Why don't let's shoot for 20? If we get 40, great, But like, if if you have the raise your hand function, or you can put it in the chat. I like to take formal votes. All in favor of supporting that action, please raise your hand to indicate somehow. To me, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right.
Count
So that
me
one
in. I figure out how to get my hand up. So count me in.
And EFAT, count me in as well. My hand wasn't moving for some reason.
All right. I'm just gonna make I'm gonna share these notes out, and sometimes I even shared this agenda over on This Week in Rockdale ahead of time, so people would know that they're welcome. No one's hiding anything from them. All right, so then the next one here is, so we'll look for next steps there from you, Brian.
Yep.
We're going to plan that.
Yep.
The next one here is, are we good to set like an in-person community meeting, probably for like mid-November, so we have time to get the word out, but probably post-election, or let's say like 2 weeks after Brian's protest, if that happens at that time. Mm-hmm. But we'd like Brian's protest, and then we follow that up with an in-person meeting.
Is that a question? I'm supportive of that idea and that approach.
Yeah, it might be. I will assume it's unanimously adopted unless someone wants to change it. Let's go that way.
All right.
All right, that sounds good. I will follow up with potential times, but we'll base that off of the governor's mansion thing, so we don't step on that.
Gotcha.
Based off Brian's time. The next is Basil. I think will take you up. Plan an art build or a banner and a banner drop over I-20. I think a banner drop's a real easy way to make sure we're staying out there and stay visible. And an art build is good. So if people want homemade signs, we'll make some homemade signs. Got no issue with that. And your hands up there. Sorry, sir. Is that just from voting, or is that did you want to jump in there?
Oh, yeah, it's from voting.
Okay, great. Just making sure. All right, so then we will then follow up. FaZe is going to lead on that. I have offered to make the other social media profiles. I'm there on that. I'm just asking everybody here, find your people. If you got someone that's willing to post, that I can make an admin on that, and they can post to their heart's content. Tell them they can stir the pot. All they got to do is stir the pot. We don't care who they stir it with. As long as it's on message and representative. And then the last is, I have a question. Can everyone on this call commit to finding one other person to bring with them to the next one of these? I've got these scheduled out every week. We don't have to do them every week on Monday nights, but I do want to make sure that we're continuing to find people that are willing to, don't got to be all the time, but are willing to show up sometimes and help out with these. And the only way to grow is to find new people. So can everyone here commit to trying to find one other person for the next one of these? Awesome.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So now with our last 3 minutes, I turn this over to Teresa. Do you want to talk about Mansion or the Capitol?
No, it was just a question. I just really wanted to put the question out there when we're doing the logistics. I just trying to figure out, the mansion would give us a little bit more. Well, either way, the Capitol kind of, I don't know, whichever one you feel is best, but I just didn't know that we need to go to, why would we go to the mansion versus going to the office?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that question, Teresa, because it doesn't have to be the mansion. Listen, okay. we have elected officials. We should be invited to enter into the Capitol, and so again, it does not have to be the mansion. It's just that for me, I think that we need to move it from Rockdale and bring it to that area.
Okay. So that makes sense, and the only reason I brought that up and thought about it was when we was talking about no parking and the limitations on the sidewalk, that piece. That's why I was like the Capitol. Just let us know which one would be better. I think we could get a bigger crowd at the Capitol than we could at the mansion. I don't know. I've seen both. Okay, so just let us know. What do you guys think?
So our very first press conference was actually at the Capitol, and it was a pretty good turnout. So but I know we had to have a legislator pretty much sponsor us so that we could get access.
Mhm.
So maybe we can ask Representative Taylor or someone that's can help us to get access for us to have it there. And that was what had to be done that time for us to even get in the building.
Oh, I said I thought we were doing a protest. The
Oh,
protest is the outside.
okay, all right. I got you. Thanks.
Yeah, that
That works.
make sure I'm correct too. Now the protest we usually just do it on the outside of the Capitol.
You're absolutely right.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but yes. Mm-hmm.
Or Liberty Plaza. Somebody said Liberty Plaza. Yeah.
Why can't we do both? Why can't we do because see, the legislature is not in session. They may be coming back for a special, I understand they may have to do a special session because of all of the damage, but they're not in session. So I don't believe in walking around an empty house, but we could do that. I mean, it looks good and all of that, but we could also do the governor's mansion. And the mansion, there's ways you can get there, because I think the side streets, I can't remember, but I don't think they have no parking restrictions on the side street. I know they do on West Paces Ferry. But the side street, plus I think the governor's mansion has a public parking lot. I don't know for sure, but I think he has public parking, and as long as we don't protest there and we walk off, we should be allowed to park. But I will check. I've got to go out over the next few days, so I will check and see when I'm on that side of town. I'll do some reconnaissance what the parking situation looks like.
Yeah, I would second. I think that the well, I would say that because the legislature's out of session right now, and because the last time that people were there, we lost somebody.
Yeah.
I would go with the mansion first, just because if the goal is like get the governor's attention and visibility slash media, it's easy to stretch out 20 people on the outside the gate of that by the road and get the whole mansion in the background. And like, it's not like we got to go home and run away from this cloud. So I think there's some stuff there. When we go back to the legislature, would prefer it to be at a time when we can also make asks of people, and go in and like check in on the legislators and say like, why haven't you done XYZ?
Remember, Paul, that was my question. What is it that we're asking the legislators to do? So I was actually keeping the legislators separate. They are down there. There's been committee meetings.
Right.
Okay?
I think we need more time on that front. That's why I'm
Yes.
like, let's keep it focused on the governor for now.
Okay.
And because he just hadn't even said anything.
Well, and let me make sure I'm clear too. I said we could do it toward the governor, and we protested the governor at the Capitol. But that's okay. I like what you just said, Paul, where it states that put the attention on the governor. The best way to get the attention and the visibility is to go to the mansion. So I totally agree. That makes sense. So we can do. I wasn't thinking about going to the Capitol for the legislators, unless we have a
I hear you
legislative
now.
plan.
I apologize
Okay.
about that. Now I hear you.
Okay.
If we did him at the Capitol, I feel like you'd also want him to be like there though. Like, even if you're gonna do like the Park Cannon knock on the door, get arrested thing, then like I don't know that they guard his office when he's not, when it's not in session.
No, he's working every day. The only people ain't in session is the legislators. So that office is open. Secretary of State office is open. Governor's office is open. Those are open. The major ones are open. EPD, wherever they are, they're open. So we can, you know, if it's about EPD, we need to figure out where that location is. I don't know the one for Georgia. And then the mansion I like for visibility. I think that is key to get him to at least respond, even if he send a little note to the news and say whatever, right? But we do need a little bit more information on that EPD part if we're going to go after them. And then the governor visibility. I'm okay. I'm all on board with that, but the office too. So, but I hear you, and I'm totally with you on the mansion piece.
Let me, if I may, say this, and then I have to run. The way I like to structure it, there are some people who are more environmental, a part of this group who are more environmentally savvy, who have really very much have a background in that area. Certainly, they would be the individuals to speak regarding that piece. I'm one of the things that I've learned in life. I'm a young man. I'm only 64 years old. One of the things I've learned in life is that I'm smart enough to know where I'm dumb at, right? And so I don't venture into areas that I'm unfamiliar with. But where I am familiar is fighting for the people, fighting for the community. I've been doing that practically for 40 something years. And so so I don't have to be the lead. I'm not that kind of a person that I feel as though I have to be the lead. I don't have a problem delegating. I don't have a problem being in the back. I don't, so that's the kind of person that I am. But I do believe in structuring this in a way in which when we go down there, we have a message. So we need to polish our message before we get down there so that we know exactly what we're saying. We know exactly what we're trying to achieve. And so some of us or all of us can work on that. We just have one meeting and we can basically complete that in one meeting, I'm sure, and then focus on exactly when we're going to do this. Does that make sense to you all?
Yep.
We already are. We already there. We have the messaging. I think it was, with the idea of you already working on the logistics, I think we're just following your lead on what you got.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's it.
One thing that somebody brought up that's very important, the governor's office is open every day. There is a secretary in there. Mm-hmm. And what we can do is we can devise a letter, a nice, very professional letter, and take it to the governor, and also take it to the attorney general, because this is a legal matter, and take it to those two. And that would have a very good impact, because now he has got something that he can't deny. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And totally.
Do we have? I'm sorry, Paul. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that it's always a good idea, I think, to do something like that ahead of time, so that if they say, "Why are you here?" we can say, "Well, they ignored us, and that's why we're here." But unfortunately, as you can hear in the background, I need to go be a good co-parent, good husband. Yeah. So I am, if it's okay, I'm going to wrap us up for tonight. Yeah. I will follow up, but I think we got our next steps down, and I will send this out to everybody as well.
Right.
That's fine.
Take care. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night,
y'all. Be safe. Everybody
Good night,
be safe.
y'all.
Bye-bye.